Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are when you're watching this. Welcome to the Business Renovator. I am Coach Phil. As I like to start these off with a quote from a good buddy of mine's book called Customer Delight 365. Brian Monahan is the author and curator of this book. And it's a book of different quotes for 365 days. So today's quote is by Seth Godin. And it says, "There's no shortage of remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them." Brian's take on that is, there's also no shortage of opportunities to delight. What is missing is the will to execute on them. So let's start Monday off with a bit of motivation. And what I wanted to do was recall my journey a little bit over the course of this week. I was influenced by many people along the way, but who I wanted to focus on today was Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is the author of 80 some odd books, and I remember Darren Hardy, the one-time publisher of Success Magazine, talking about Brian Tracy is the type of guy that if you were to introduce him at the time when he was being interviewed for Success Magazine's audio program, Brian had 300 and some odd either books, audios, or video training programs. And why I wanted to share it is one of the things that I have in my back pocket, my quiver, my golf bag, whatever metaphor you want to use, is Brian Tracy's teachings. And it's significant to me. Happy Monday, fun day. Welcome, Eric. Great to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a marvelous Monday. So what Brian's impact on me is, I'll cut out a chunk of it until when I ran into him. So I was working at a car dealership selling cars. And the sales manager asked me if I liked this stuff. And I asked, "What stuff is that?" And he said, "This personal development training and information." I says, "Yeah, I love this stuff." So he gave me a ticket. So the ticket was to a program called the Phoenix Seminar. And the Phoenix Seminar was a metaphor representing, or called that because of the Phoenix rose from the ashes to reinvent itself. And what this program that he was teaching, Brian Tracy, was about the same sort of thing. It was a 2-day workshop with a ton of great information. So I'm not going to be able to compress what I've learned in a lifetime of studying Brian Tracy's content this week. What I will do is share a few nuggets that have been impactful for me and the people I've been able to serve. So to give you the path or the road that I went down in terms of the Phoenix Seminar, where it's morphed and come out to, what I'd like to do is take it from the Phoenix Seminar, which then Brian turned into the psychology of achievement. Then it became maximum achievement, and then it became perform at your best. So it's been rebranded and renamed, but the premise of it has remained the same. It's all about having a yes attitude, I suppose, is the best way to talk about it. And the yes attitude is one of the things that another fellow who I study is Jeffrey Gitomore's branding. I'm just going to find a banner here so I can show something that I learned today for the first time. Only I tweaked it a little bit because it resonated with me a little bit differently. If I can find it, that is. Let me just create it then. Hang on. Here it comes. Get excited. Almost got it. I made a typo. Let me fix this. Going live. This is exciting, isn't it? You expect success. So I have to give credit where credit is due, and that's Pat Hazel actually wrote this slightly differently. He wrote it as, yes, is you expect sales. because not everybody I work with is in the sales profession, majority of them are, but not everybody. I wanted to tweak it so it had relevance to everybody. And I think if you wake up in the morning with a yes attitude, like Gitomer talks about, and you expect success, then you're more likely to have it. So yes, expect success. YES. That Pat Hazel, he's a brilliant creative individual, but I'm leveraging this. I tweaked it a little bit, but thanks, Pat. Appreciate that. So the Phoenix Seminar, which is where I first ran into Brian Tracy, was really about helping us develop our soft skills, attitudinal things, setting goals, using affirmations, and taking responsibility. So over the course of this week, I'm going to touch on several of those key points. Today, what I wanted to do was share an experience that I had when I first took the Phoenix Seminar. I was studying a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. And one of the key successes that he talks about in that book is auto-suggestion. So I was thinking, what if I took these auto-suggestions, which are written statements that you would say to yourself and reflect on? I thought, well, what if I added music to it, some kind of relaxing music that wouldn't interfere? There's no vocals, there's no lyrics, there's nothing like that to interfere with my thought processes. But I didn't act upon it. But I went to the Phoenix Seminar. And why is this significant? Well, as I mentioned before, it was a 2-day seminar. And at the end of the first day, after we've been introduced to some great concepts, Brian has had us close all of our books, put our feet flat on the floor, sit back in the chair. He dimmed the lights, and he told us to take a couple of deep breaths to relax us. And he asked us to close our eyes, and he put on this cassette. And lo and behold, guess what was on the cassette? What did I hear? I heard Baroque music. I believe Baroque music is 60 beats per minute. I believe that's what it's defined as. And some affirmations or auto-suggestions. A couple of them were, I like myself. I really, really like myself. I like myself. I really, really like myself. Another one that I remember from that, it was, I'm calm, confident, and self-assured, whether I'm speaking with a group or one-on-one. So by changing the messages we give ourselves on a regular basis, that's one of the keys to making change happen. Constant spaced repetition with feelings and emotions can help any of us, all of us, make some changes in our life. And then the other thing that I'll share out of that from today was, for today's nuggets, is I still use this in all of the training I do, whether it be sales training or the Perform at Your Best program that I facilitate, or working one-on-one with my clients. I remind themselves that if we change the state we're in, we can change what ends up showing up in our life. And one of the things is to say with passion and enthusiasm 50 times a day, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. I love my job, I love my job, I love my job, I like myself, I love my job, I like myself, I love my job. You can't not change the way you feel when you say affirming positive statements in the present tense as if you're already there. So if you're having a down day or a down moment, there's a couple of tips and tricks that we would get you to do. Now, is that the only thing you do? No, but it's one thing. And if you're not doing that and you want to change your state, I would encourage you to do that. Oh, there comes a comment. Hey, Brian. Brian likes himself. I like Brian. Brian is the author and fellow that I borrow the quotes from his great book, Customer Delight 365. Thanks, Brian, for popping in. Affirmations, a positive statement that you say can be life-changing if they're done right and if they have emotion. I'm not going to do a deep dive in that today. Later this week, be sure if you want to find out more how to make that happen for yourself as a tool, absolutely tune in 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, Mountain Daylight Time, I guess, right now until we change over, Monday through Friday. If you have a question that you would like to ask me, Coach Phil, at the Business Renovator. My information's right up here. You can email me, phil@coachphil.ca, with your question, your idea, or you can find me on Facebook at Phil Jokes. Hey, here's another tip. I think emotion part is key to amplifying them. I think the emotion part is key to amplifying them. Absolutely it is. I'm going to just jump into one thing that I hadn't planned on today, because Brian's prompt is a really good one. We think in 3 dimensions, so we think in 3D. And what are the 3 dimensions? The first one is we have a thought or an idea. The second part is we get a picture of it, or we have an image that comes up from the thought we have. And then once we've done that, then feelings and emotions show up. Now, this happens quite quickly. It happens faster than how I'm saying it. And the more you think about this, the more emotions you'll get. As Brian's talking about, it amplifies. And then you start to get more thoughts, and the thoughts create more clarity, and the clarity creates more of a crystal clear picture, and the picture creates more fuel and emotion. And I agree 100% with Brian, is that the emotions is actually the fuel to drive us into action, to move us towards where we want to go, making it easier for us to get to the goal or the aspiration we have for ourselves. So that's a really good place to maybe pause for today, because I try to keep these under 15 minutes, and we're getting close to the 15-minute mark. But popping in like that is where the inspiration comes for me and helps me out with some of the things. That's a powerful, powerful thing that you talk about there, Brian. And I'm glad that you presented it to the audience here. So when they look at this and they think about that, that they've put emotion to be able to amplify it for themselves. Now, one of the things we all need to be cautious of is, because the emotions amplify it or fuel it, the thoughts we think create the definition, I suppose, whether it's a positive or negative outlook. This works as well for the positive side as it does for the negative side. And I would hazard a guess, and I've never measured it, but I would hazard a guess, if you've heard of the 80-20 rule, 80% of our thoughts are negative. The good news is, though, if we put our energy on the 20%, then we're going to put the focus on that. And the amplification part that Brian was talking about, the emotions, will show up in a positive way. And you will be able to provide a delight experience using some of Brian's ideas. So on that note, I'm going to end today's session, but I look forward to sharing some other nuggets from Perform at Your Best by Brian Tracy that I've experienced in my own life personally, as well as with my clients. I appreciate everybody that shows up in these. I hope you get some great value out of this. If you do, let me know what it is. If you've got a question or a idea that you want to share with me, again, phil@coachphil.ca. And I repost these in my blog, and you can go to coachphil.ca if you want to re-watch this, or watch it on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Thanks for being here. Much success to you this week. Much abundance to everybody here. 3D plus delight 40. That's an interesting concept, Brian. You're always thinking. You're so creative. Till we meet again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.